as you look at the piece, you can see and recreate the entire process of carving it. If you're curious at all, you could probably formulate how it was done. And therein is the title Oahu, which means basically to inspire. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to snow you with the beauty of this piece, but I'm trying to show you the process. Right here, which was considerably, it wasn't bigger this way, but it was a little bit more meat on both sides of this. The pond wasn't there when I started. Within the next 3 or 4 days, it filled in, and then it's been there ever since. This is as small as it's been, but there's been a couple of clumps of tadpoles, and tadpoles are now frogs. This in here, and this in here, top of the head, this shoulder here, and the shoulder here, and then this guy, and fade into this. I think this is 120 grit now, and I think I'm going to leave it there. When I asked about what this area was and realized that this was a sediment area, then I thought, well, shoot, as soon as it starts raining, then we're looking at not being able to get the truck down here. So what we had to do was make some sort of a platform. So they just got the loader and continued pushing the mountain down, dug a little road out of there, made a platform here, picked the piece up, stuck it right where it is, and then in order to get down, we had them lay some asphalt down. It's just loose asphalt. We just poured it down, and so now I can bring my truck down to it and get out each night. Sometime it's been getting critical because more and more gravel has been going down on the road, and so I've been peeling out quite a bit more. But the plan today is to dig this area of the road out and pull the flatbed down and come back around here, pull the flatbed down right at the foot of the road there. With that fill, stick up on top, the loader will come down where the truck is, pick it up, just swing it around and put it down on the trailer.
You have the pictures of Jerry that
Oh my God.
Ralph, do you guys have a map over on the bidon? Is it something you guys would do?
Wow. An ancient dog footprint.
It's full with water, and then there's a break, shotgun, and you flip it up, put a 12-gauge shell inside, close it up, and so I'm watching. You just dig
around.
Yeah, dig around. Yeah, expose that. There's really resistance plus the weight with this crap.
You got it.
Now,
Okay.
is it going to go on the barge on the truck or
On a pallet,
With the pallet.
and we'll have to re-rig it. We'll put
which
all.
way? Yeah, which way is it going to lie? That
That's
side
Jerry.
down or
You
this
make
side
that
down?
decision.
I was thinking this side down, but
Is this unfinished?
that's finished.
Is that going to go that exposed or unexposed?
That's exposed. That's the way it is. But as I was looking at it, I was trying to figure out which side to go down, and I really couldn't come up with anything.
Okay, I would have said this one, but I don't have a problem with this one either.
The scaffolding coming down. That's a milestone. Good man. That's all the purchase there is. I wonder if that's going to slip right out.
Have you got yours
No, there's no wrap.
Is there enough to?
you set the drill up on the rock and you secure it by sinking a bolt into the rock. And so it was up back here somewhere, secured. And I carved, and I was hoping to carve it all the way out. And there's exactly that much left. And I thought, well, you know, I probably could take that out, but again, what I'm trying to do isn't to make the ultimate finished piece, but to show the process as much as possible. And I thought that would be a good part of the process. I didn't pressure wash it, but just hosed into there. There's all kind of dirt and stuff in there. And the flaw, this crack here, that created so much concern for me when we were transporting it. This ended up at 4.5 tons. I figured the original rock was probably close to 5 or 6. The outside of this is, I didn't touch. This is all just bush hammered. So I'm not tying this up. I'm curious as to what will become of this stuff. Each one of these pieces of rock is worked in some way. That's how I know this isn't one of them. Because this one hasn't been worked in any way. But all of these rocks have got a saw cut or of some sort that came off of this piece. I've never dealt with a stone on this scale before, and normally I've chosen my stones very carefully, and the density, the consistency is usually throughout. Whereas when you get into a bigger piece like this, you have a lot of different elements going on. On the other side, where it's all rotted. There's dirt. There's all kinds of crud and such. To down here on the back end, it's very dense. This part here is pretty dense, but it's got some air bubbles in it. Not as much air bubbles down here, and that was where my saw gave out. This hasn't been carved at all. I like to expose where this whole thing started, where it all came from, as opposed to just carving the entire piece and not being able to see any of the original stone. This being an art center, I wanted to focus more on the process than on the finished piece. So the process would be to cut with your blade, to knock it off with your chisel, then to take your grinder and grind it down so that you grind out all the cut lines so you have a full and complete surface, and then work down with sanding discs till it's smoother, and until we have several spots. The end pieces here, the top of the head, are all sanded down to about 500 grit. Working with just the blueprint, I knew this was going to be the area. I knew the roof was going to be here, and knew that this glass window was going to be here, and this hallway. And so the consideration of seeing it from inside was that this was going to be very much a silhouette. Inside looking out, what you were going to see wasn't so much a textured piece as a silhouette, because of the shading, the bright background, and the dimly lit piece itself. When you set a sculpture, unless you have a completely 360-degree access, you have to decide on primary, secondary, tertiary views of it. The best view, or the most utilized view is from inside through the window at the piece. And in that sense, it should be skewed just a bit, but it's not skewable. Sculpture, in essence, is a constant series of decisions. Each time you do something, you have to decide what to do next. One of the things that I most enjoyed about this piece was the scale of it. The physicality of having this much mass. Removing a lot of mass was the problem. Not the problem. That was the labor of this piece. But to put it into a practical context on how am I going to lift this up without breaking it, is that was one of the real exciting things for me. To realize carving on this scale was really exciting and real, very much a dream come true. All my pieces since have been very much concerned with textures, the juxtaposition of smooth and rough, the inclusion of natural faces, the combinations of textures, combinations of shapes, and it makes me feel good because it lets me know that there's still area to grow in. What I'm looking to do is to create form from materials such as wood and stone, and to create that form in a new way as often as I can. I don't want to reproduce what's been produced before. I want to inspire. Oahu. The artist is the frontiersman for society, and if he's not challenging normal society, then he's just making money. And I think that's the shallow side of professions, is whether you're making money. Making money should be a side product, not the end product. Love the density. It's just so dense. If you were the size of an ant and you're driving on the sculpture, there was always going to be some way that you could drive over the entire surface of it. Okay, if you couldn't get over this edge, then you could drive down around here and you get on it this way, and that would take you all the way up. If you got it in four-wheel drive here, and then you get up onto the surface and okay, and then you take it out four-wheel drive and you drive down all the way down and around. You can go up and around and come down. Oh, there's a dead end, so you got to turn down here, and you can come to this side to get there. Go back around here, but the whole surface is accessible over from wherever, and it was this visualization of a little guy in a little car, so that all of these things are like freeways. But when you have to set it up in such a way that there's a front and a back, I think the tendency is for people to establish, okay, this is the back, this is the front, and forget about the transition process of the back to the front or the front to the back, which is always a very interesting process for the sculptor. For this sculptor, anyway, I've always strived to break down the differentiation of front and back. In this case, this ridge line here is one of the elements that I've tried to use to pull the back around to the front in such a way that either if you start on the other side and you get pulled around to the back, or if you're on this side you get pulled around to the front, there becomes a unclear line of front and back. It becomes a part of the same. Holes have the tendency to do that as well, particularly when you take the hole and open it up as wide as I have. Okay, this is the same surface as this surface out here. It's just been pulled around. The quote from Henry Moore is that holes bring the back to the front. Holes open a sculpture and bring the other side to this side. And that's one of the things that I love about holes, is that they help to break down that differentiation of front and back and gives it a lot more. It lightens it, as well as gives it a lot more movement for both surface areas and for your eye.